Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Tojo here, and I'm back with a kind of little bit of a discussion video about maybe some thoughts and concerns around like the current market and stuff, not to try and ring the alarm bells or make anyone worry. I just thought it was a topic that's worth covering, and also something that I kind of want to express my opinion on, being a collector of Pokemon cards and WotC cards and all that stuff, and whatever the buzz in the hobby is around at the moment. Yeah, you know, I collect it, so I thought I'd throw my hat in the ring, give you guys my opinion on some of the stuff that's been going on. So, what have we got here? Well, we've got some nice WotC bulk, which you can see some Kanto starters here. And they're very much kind of the topic of conversation around in the hobby at the moment. The price increase on these guys at the moment has been insane over the last few weeks, months as well actually. And you know, we've got a range of sets. So you've got base set, you know, nothing crazy here right now, but you've got base set, rocket, base 2, base unlimited, so not shadowless or first ed. You got a legendary collection. All of these sets that you will see the original Kanto starters from have been climbing in price at, in my opinion, an alarming rate. And I just want people to kind of step back and have a little bit of a reflection, no matter what your position in the market is, kind of have a little bit of a think, and maybe for us to have a bit of a discussion around that. So that's what today's video is going to be about. So if we kind of have a look at what's here, I am just one fish in a very small fish in an extremely large Pokemon pond. So the first thing we've really got to think about is how many other people in the world, you know, exist that have bulk things lying around, or bulk cards that have been lying around in binders, in boxes, just like me here. And by no means have I meant to collect any of this over the years. This is stuff from either from collection purchases or from, say, even from when I was a child, basically, from my childhood collection. You know, this is a tiny unintentional collection, and I just pulled it out because I saw the prices of, you know, and where they've been going over the last few weeks, with the intention to sell these cards because I have no need for them, and the prices, quite frankly, I think are so high that I just can't turn down this opportunity to throw away what essentially are just common cards, really. So, you know, you've got to ask yourself, when whoever's watching this right now, if you look at these cards, ask yourself the question, what is it that makes what you see in front of you appealing? So is it because you see collection pieces? Do you see investment opportunities? Or a little bit like me, do you just see kind of common cards? Because that's what this guy right here is. Charmander, Bulbasaur, Squirtle, they're all common cards from these sets. So if you see investments, I want you to kind of take a deep breath and join a conversation that I think needs to be had. And that is, I think people need to calm down with these Kanto starter prices around these Wizards of the Coast sets. Some of the prices on eBay, I've seen shadowless cards hit £70. I've seen base set cards going in sets of 3 for £30-40. And so, you know, if you are seeing these as investment pieces and investment opportunities, and you're looking to do things with these cards, whether you're trying to flip them or you're looking to grade them because you're seeing the grading prices climb as well as the price of, you know, sealed packs increases, so too do the contents. But you got to ask yourself, where does the value lie in those packs? And cards like this, you will see a Charmander every pack sometimes, 1 in 3 packs, 1 in 2 packs, or you'll see a starter every other pack, or a Pikachu. So these cards are super, you know, they are common, they're called common for a reason. So if you are somebody who's trying to leverage a position in the market where you're buying these cards off eBay and you're looking to grade them, which is something that some people are trying to do, you know, I just want you to, again, ask yourself a couple of questions. You know, when you buy these cards, say off eBay or from other collectors, and you're looking to send off these cards to grading services, whether that's directly to PSA or through like a third-party company or something like that, aka we have like Graded Gem here in the UK, I want you to just, have you paid Express, or are you prepared to pay Express on these cards and the grade? Because Express is normally reserved for cards that are, towards the upper echelons of kind of card values, and these guys aren't that expensive. And so are you prepared to pay a large, substantial fee to get one of these guys to and from the USA in a very short period of time? And the reason why I ask that is because how long are you prepared to wait for that card to come back? So at the moment, PSA has a huge backlog of cards to grade at the moment, and that's been no secret over the past, even year really, or maybe even longer for some people who've been doing this for a while. And the position that the Pokemon market's in at the moment is there is a lot of excitement, there is a lot of, to use the word that gets thrown around, hype around these cards. And if you're going to be sending these common cards off to PSA with the intention of them coming back 8s, 9s, 10s or whatever, and thinking I can make a tidy profit on them, when they get back, will the market still be in the same position? So you have to think, when that card comes back, is it going to be the same market than when I put this card in a card saver and sent it off to the US? And honestly, my opinion on that is that it won't be. And whether that's higher, then great, that's fantastic. That will have been a good investment. But realistically, based on some of the patterns that I'm seeing with celebrities and crypto investors and XYZ coming into the hobby, and there being a massive influx of people and modern prices flying through the ceiling, Vivid Voltage being the pre-release kits being super high, all of these are indicators to me that there is, I don't want to say pump and dump, but like a large influx of money, and I don't know how long and how consistently these people who are doing this are gonna stay in the hobby, and whether there is that much actual natural demand for these products to hold those prices in the long run. So these cards could take 6 months. I have a set of cards off at PSA at the moment, and they could take 6 months, they could take, a year, they could take 18 months. And to me, it wouldn't matter, because I know that the cards that I've sent off, whether they come back and they're worth nothing, they either have a personal value to me, or the cards that I've sent off have enough of a foothold in terms of rarity and scarcity that they will still be worth the amount. Well, I would hope, I'm very confident that they will have the same value when they return than when I first sent them. So if we think about, if we're going to move on to the next question now, and if we think about that time period, so let's say in 6 months' time, in a year's time, when these guys, if they were sent off to grade, all came back, will the market demand be there for this many cards? And I don't mean just this many. How would I be able to sell if all of these came back 9s and 10s? How easy would it be for me to sell all of these cards if I think about there being hundreds of other collectors or people or new investors or people in the hobby that are doing exactly the same thing right now? And PSA's backlog, if it comes back quickly, or if it all comes back at the same time, or things start to come back more frequently, if they go on a hiring drive, or for whatever reason their logistics improve, who knows? That doesn't really matter. That's beside the point. I'm rambling, sorry. But if these cards come back, how many people realistically out there are going to be wanting to buy, PSA 8, 9, 7, a few 10, base set unlimited Charmanders? There's going to be hundreds, if not thousands, flooded onto the market if everyone had the same idea. And is there enough natural, organic demand for all of those to be sold within this market? And that's something that's a really difficult question to answer. I don't know. If the hobby popularity continues to kind of grow, then yes, maybe that might happen. But we've got to think about what cards people kind of what they actually want. You know, what cards. There has to be a certain level of like scarcity and demand and rarity of a card that gives it its appeal, other than just, oh, it's a Charmander that comes in, you know, every 1 in 3 packs. You know, you do have to think about that too. So the other thing is, that question, that last part, is very dependent on the value of these cards, is very dependent on the condition that these cards come back in. So if I just take, I don't know, this little guy here. So this Charmander, you can see, has some whitening on the top right here, and then some big whitening and a bend and some creases and all that good stuff. And honestly, I've seen these go for £2, £3, £4, all the way up to £10 in very similar condition to this. And I would never, ever, ever pay that amount for this card. I would never even sell it for that amount. You know, if it went on auction up to that point, I'd be flabbergasted. I wouldn't have a choice at that point. Obviously, if they pay, that's what they pay. But you know, I would never put this up as a buy it now for, you know, £10. It's just absurd. You know, so you've got to think about that level of like transparency and honesty. So if you look at, say, if you're buying from somebody you know, and you get all the pictures, you get all the details, you know exactly what you're going to be receiving. And even if you're a relatively new seller and you're new to kind of PSA grading, or, you know, that whole grading process, or understanding condition of cards, is, you know, realistically, how honest is, you know, how honestly reflected is that the right way to say it? How honest is this? Let's go with this. How honest are the eBay sellers going to be in their listings around the condition of these cards? You know, if I hold this all the way back here, I don't know, it depends on the quality on the video, but how many, you know, condition blemishes can you see here? How many can you see when things like this, maybe a little bit of whitening, but you definitely can't see all of these creases and bends down on the side that I'm exposing right here. And, you know, how honest are these sellers going to be? People who are selling these cards, are they trying to make some quick money, or, you know, it all depends on the honesty of the eBay and the eBay seller, and the transparency, or just, I suppose, if you're going for private sales as well, just the transparency of the seller and how many of those condition flaws you can see. And, you know, you're never guaranteed to get that absolute transparency. So that in turn means you're never guaranteed tens, guys. Like, these cards, you got to remember, they're 20 years old. They've been around for a long, long time. You know, and whether it's been in a pack, whether it's been in sealed product, or whether it's just been in a box or just been in a folder, how many of these cards realistically that you're trying to sweep up off eBay or other closed markets are actually in a condition where you're going to be, even now with the prices where they are now, you know, guaranteeing a good return after you've paid for the cost of grading and the time that it takes for them to get back. You know, if you are new to investing and you're looking at, you know, Pokemon investing, and you're looking to pick these cards up to grade, or I suppose any cards to grade for that matter, is, you know, how you ask yourself, how many cards have you handled that have been either sent to PSA, or how many PSA cards have you actually seen? You know, do you have a reference point? Do you know what an 8 looks like? Do you know what a 7 looks like? Do you know what different condition flaws can bring a card down? You know, a lot of people don't know even things like, they'll look at a card and they'll be like, oh, it's so minty, like it looks perfect, and yeah, like this Charmander looks pretty damn good. And then if you go to the back, it's like, yeah, it's pretty clean. There's a bit of whitening up here, and some people might be like, oh, that's a 7, maybe an 8, but it only takes one dent or tiny invisible crease or something on this card that you can't see in a listing to bring this down to a PSA 5 or lower. You know, it really is that strict, guys, and you can't take those things for granted. So you really have to understand that it's so difficult. It isn't just a simple process of just like buying these cards, seeing the prices go up. You know, I really want you to kind of think this through, guys, and make sure you're making the right decisions and that you're happy and confident, you know, with the decisions you're making and the money that you're potentially the large amounts of money that you're investing in this hobby. So I think the main reason why I wanted to do this video today was because I myself have kind of been stuck in this dilemma a little bit. So I have these shadowless cards that I bought towards the start, towards a few that I bought towards the end of last year, and a few that I bought at the start of this year as well. And these are shadowless starters from base set. So we've got the red cheek Pikachu and we've got the yellow cheek Pikachu variants as well. And I've kind of just been wondering, like, with the price increase, should I be sending these cards off to grade? So I'll try and, from my perspective, give you my thoughts and opinions, because I'm in this situation, but for those, these base set cards, but with these shadowless ones. And my opinion is, at the moment, is as of today, I literally advertise these up on Instagram, and I'm thinking about going through to eBay and listing some of these up. And the reason why that is because I do not have pure confidence, or I'm not confident enough that, and I'm not prepared to pay the express price to get these cards off and back in time, mainly because there still isn't really a guarantee on any form of kind of like turnover time with express services at the moment either. You could be waiting a few months for PSA and stuff like that. So, but I'm not prepared to pay the price to get them to come back and supposedly quicker. And I'm not confident enough that if I did pay, that when these guys came back, even if they did come back as nines, that they would be the same price, or they would be worth the money that some of these shadowless cards are going for on the market at the moment. And these aren't mint. And the transparency thing that I was talking about earlier, I return back to, I haven't, when I've advertised these, I've sent, I'm sending, detailed photos to all of the listers. Like you can see, there's some whitening up in the top corner. The Bulbasaurs are actually in the worst condition out of all of these. Obviously, you can't tell that from the back, but you have to take my word for it. The best conditions, I think, are the yellow cheek Pikachus, followed by the red cheeks. The Charmanders are pretty good, then the Squirtles, and then the Bulbasaurs. But my stance is, I'm going to sell these raw because I bought them for less than £20 a set, for a set of 5, so for red cheeks, yellow cheeks, and then one of each of the starters. And for me, it just isn't worth the risk sending these guys off and them coming back in time, because the raw prices at the moment are so high that the cost benefit of me kind of waiting 6-7 months for them to come back, and then if the graded prices drop, it's just not worth the wait. And so, I haven't got best confidence that these are going to come back any better than PSA 8s either. So that's kind of where I'm at. If I send these off, I'm not going to see them in 6 months, and I just don't think they're going to be at the same value when they come back. I can't tell you what it is, but there's just something about the market patterns and things that are going on at the moment that just say to me, I'm seeing, big collectors look at selling off some big pieces in their collection. They're selling off a lot of stuff at the moment. There's a lot of talk about selling. There's a lot of talk about bubbles. People saying, the market's going too fast. There's just a lot of things that point me towards, an uneasy feeling. And for me, I'm not losing anything if I sell these. I'm making a lot of money based on, the time that I've held onto these and stuff. It's a fantastic return. So there's nothing wrong with me just accepting that win and taking the money, right? So I just don't think the market's going to be the same when we come back. And if there is some kind of retrace, or the word bubble gets thrown around a lot, if the bubble does burst, then the cards that hold the value, the cards that get affected less by these retraces or from these crashes, are going to be the ones that are rarer. And put simply, these cards just aren't rare, guys. It's just a fact. They're just not rare. They're called common cards for a reason. And just think about how many other people are out there in the collecting world right now that have 10, 100 times what I have. You only have to look at, I know he's an exceptional case, but King Pokemon, so Gary from Pawn Stars, he just has an unbelievable amount of common bulk, and I bet there are thousands of other collectors out there that are exactly the same. But just in terms of kind of transparency, like if you guys want to form your own opinion on the market and where you feel like things are going, I think it's important that people hand out the resources and give people, you know, enough information for them to be able to form their own opinion. I'm not going to tell you guys just listen to what I have to say, but there's plenty of channels out there that do some awesome content around these kind of topics. People like SM Pratt, there's Z&G Emporium, there's Pokenomics with Jake and Rafi. There is a guy called the Flex Gods or something like that. And then there was a new guy as well, Kanto something. I can't remember. Is it someone I've discovered recently? I'll pop the links to all of those channels in the descriptions, guys. They have videos around all of these topics and the market and current events and stuff like that. And I think it's really important that you go away, watch some of the content that they have before you start making decisions. You know, educate yourselves around the market, you know, the collectible hobby before you start jumping in and making decisions, and especially making, you know, financial commitments. Though, you know, it's your money, you know, you do what you want with it, you go with it. You know, I'm just here trying to help and kind of give you guys my viewpoint. So though this was a discussion that kind of needed to be had, I hope it's not just been nonsense, me just chatting crap, and that there's some kind of coherence around all of this. You know, shout out to the people I've been speaking to the last couple of days around, you know, what I should be doing with these cards, and we've had some really good discussion. So I thought I'd open the floor to YouTube and my channel as well. If you did like this video and you want more kind of stuff like this around PSA and kind of more of the stuff that I do definitely behind closed doors, I keep all the like positive like pack openings and video and all this stuff, but I do a lot of this in my spare time and keep an eye on a lot of the market. So if you do want to see more of this content, then, you know, just let me know. And if you've got any questions, or you don't agree with anything that I've said, or you want to have a debate or discussion, comment section is always open to that stuff, guys. And I love talking about this stuff with people, and you know, I'd love to learn a thing or two as well. You know, if there's something that I'm missing, then it's great to hear that too. So hope you guys have a wonderful day, weekend, you know, whatever's going on in your life at the moment. If you do like the video and stuff, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. It's all free. But yeah, you guys take care, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.